Come here, you. Come here, you. Look. That's Diva. This is Diva, darling Diva Dugas. She's Marcella's new kitten. She's almost grown. And then she's gonna go kill a bunch of animals outside. We haven't let her out yet, but she's a doll. She's a literal doll. All right. Goodbye, Diva. Goodbye. All right, be quiet, Ben. All righty. Hi. My name is Gina, and this is my knitting channel where I talk about all my knitting and what I'm reading and something completely inappropriate to talk about, whether it be sex or religion or politics. So let's get into it. Thanks for joining me today.
What is that?
I've got, I didn't turn the ring light on today. I thought I would just have some natural light. It's still pretty harsh. I don't know. I will never get the lighting right. I don't know how people do it. I've not been able to ever get it right, and I'm not going to be able to get it right today either. So it is what it is. What can I say? I'm also going to be looking down a lot and grabbing things because I don't have any table around me. Normally I'm sitting on the floor with stuff around me, but I'm sitting in a chair today just because I felt like I wanted to sit upright, you know, completely upright. So let's see. What am I drinking today? I am drinking breakfast in Paris in my Mrs. Claus mug. Breakfast in Paris by Stash Yarn, Stash Teas. And what was I going to say about that? I don't remember. That I wish I was having breakfast in Paris. That's what I was going to say. Okay. So hopefully you have something yummy to drink too as well. All right, we're going to get started. I'm going to catch you up with everything. First of all, I'm dying of heat stroke, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm wearing, and I might have to take it off. I don't know. I'm wearing the Earth Stripe Shawl by Rowan. Oh, I'm dying. Anyway, it's so warm and soft. I also didn't have a manicure, so my nails look terrible. Sorry. Isn't that beautiful? I have had this for years. I have loved it, and I want to make another one in different colors. And I have just the thing. Like, this was like 10 different colors of Rowan Kid Silk Haze. And we actually dyed up yarn. We have skeincocaine is back. We have yarn. I have something so that I can make another one of these. But I'm not going to show it to you just yet. I'm going to show it later. I want to go through my stuff first. Then I'll show you the yarn we dyed to make the Earth Stripe Shawl. Okay, so I want to sort of talk about what I've been knitting and what I am currently thinking in terms of like Christmas stuff. That's kind of the idea. I'm going to be making like a bunch of Harry Potter house scarves bookmarks. I have requests for those. So I'm going to make those. Those are really simple and easy. You know, like an hour probably to make one, I would think. Not even an hour. And let's see, I'm going to make some mug hugs, and I'm going to make the kind that are striped, and they are really simple. You're just doing, you know, 2 rows of one color, 2 rows of another. Doesn't even matter whether it's like jogless stripes or not. It really doesn't make any difference whether you do that or not. Nobody really would notice, but there is a way to do jogless stripes. If you want to look at YouTube and find it online, it's pretty easy to find. And then I'm making the kind of mug hugs that have little arms and mittens that go in pockets. I'm making those. They're mug hugs too, but they have arms and mittens. So I'm making those. I'm gonna make Mush Room. I saw the designer and her friend walking around Rhinebeck wearing it. It's a mushroom hat, and I'm making one of those for Marcella. I got to get started on that because I could be running out of time at this point. I'm planning on making Selbu mittens by Skeincocaine. It's sort of an Aran weight Selbu mitten pattern, and what's really great about that is, you know, Selbu mittens typically are done in sort of an Icelandic fingering weight yarn, and I'm not doing that. I'm doing it in a thicker weight yarn. Doing those for my mother. I'm making the Popple Bandana. I thought that was really cute. And I'm making not the Lobstah Sweater by Whitney, but I'm going to take the chart. I bought the pattern, and I'm going to take one of the lobster images, and I'm going to put it on a little pillow and give it to Karen, because she, you know, lives in Boston and they eat lobster all the time, and so she lives on Plum Island. So I thought I would make her like a little pillow with a lobster on it. That's the thing about when you buy colorwork sweaters patterns. You know, you've got the chart, so you've got the you've got the chart of the image, and you can put it on other stuff if you get the stitch count right. You can put it on hats, you can put it on other things. So I wanted to make a Christmas sweater, and I wanted to make sort of an elegant Christmas sweater. And I was watching the twins who knit, and one of them was making the Northern Augustins number 6 by Anne Sophie Norby Velling. And I could not find, like, I looked at all the yarn that I have, and I particularly looked in this section, and I couldn't really find the right color for that yarn. So like I had this, which is Woolfolk. You know, I had this, and I thought, I'm looking for like a gingerbread color. That's kind of what I was looking for. And this is super soft. I had enough to do this. I have a sweater quantity of this. This is Woolfolk. What is it? Good question. Why does it not? Oh, Luft. It's Luft. That's what it is. Can you see that? I guess you can. I don't know if that's focusing or not. Anyway, so I had that. That wasn't right. And then I had some tweed, and I thought, oh, maybe this would work. Sort of a tobacco color for a gingerbread color, but I didn't want it to be tweed because I thought that the tweedy bits would kind of like mess up the color work. So then I thought, oh, well, I have some hot sock. I have a sweater's quantity of this colorway, which I don't even remember what this was called. Tobacco, maybe? I'm not even sure. Yeah, I guess that was my tobacco colorway. But it, believe it or not, was too variegated for my liking. You see how that has a lot of variegation in it? Seems tonal, but it's not really. And it has these splashes of green in there, and I really didn't want that. I didn't want there to be any other colors. So I realized, you know, I don't actually have it. I don't have the colorway that I really want. So I went to, you know, the only big box store, basically. I mean, I have Joann's, Michael's, but I went to Hobby Lobby, and I got this because this was the right color. And I thought, okay, easy going. Yeah, I'm not a real fan, and I'm not a yarn snob. I'm really not. But I realized that I probably, I don't know. I'm just not sure that this was what I had in mind. And I got all the rest of skeincocaine colorways. All right, this is called golden brown. There it is. Golden brown. I can't tell whether you can see that or not. I'm completely blind. And I'm also going deaf, by the way. That's what happens when you get old. You go blind and deaf, and other things happen too. But anyway, so I started the sweater using, the rest of it is going to be skeincocaine hand-dyed yarn. So I thought, well, maybe that'll be enough to elevate this sweater, but it looks like a dog sweater. It looks like something you would make a cushion for a dog bed in it. Here it is. Now, it has not been blocked, so don't expect much. It's all puckery until it gets blocked. However, I think this is almost 100% acrylic. So that would mean that I don't know how it's going to block out. Oh, it's just so blown out because I'll never get the lighting right in this place. Anyway, there's candy canes. There's a little vine of garland. There's a present. There's a tree. There's a heart. And then there's like a bow. And I didn't do the colors exactly right because she had brown for the bow on the blue present. And then she had, the heart was brown. And I was just like, gross. But then when I did the heart, I was like, I want to do a different color for the bow. And the bow I used like a variegated, which was kind of stupid, but I did. So you don't really see it. It would have been a much better red bow, but I didn't do it. And also, these are all different weights. Like some of these I used fingering, DK, some were worsted. The sweater body made out of this gingerbread color or golden brown is a worsted / Aran. So I started out with a size 4 for the twisted rib. And then I went into 6 till about here, realized it was too tight, and so went up to a 7. And now I'm working on the body and I'm about to split for the sleeves. I potentially may go back to, I may go back to a 6 for the body. But anyway, I don't have any idea like what size this is because it's all different weights. I started with the lowest number of stitches, so the smallest size, but I'm totally winging it, completely winging it. And frankly, I just don't think it's going to work out. I think it's going to be ugly. Since I got sick, if you didn't watch my previous podcasts, I had a horrible medical incident. And ever since then, I've just been sort of not taking my knitting seriously at all. I have just been enjoying just playing, and if something's not right and I figure out, I'm just going with the flow. But that's causing there to be an awful lot of whips that are abandoned. Like you've seen some of these, oh God, itchy. You've seen some of these whips that I have abandoned, and I think I'm going to keep going with this because I started thinking, well, it could be an ugly Christmas sweater, right? So that's kind of my plan. I'm making it an ugly Christmas sweater. I do want to do this in hand-dyed gingerbread colored yarn, like DK plus Surrey together. I do want to do that and make this a really beautiful Christmas sweater. This is not it. Okay, what else am I doing? So then, Frame Your Face by Andrew Mowry. I've been knitting this. I had 4 different colors of Spin Cycle dyed in the wool, which is the worsted-ish, DK-ish Spin Cycle. I had 4 skeins that had just been sitting in my stash. And I really wanted to use them. So I started out, I bought the pattern for the Frame Your Face, and I started with the darkest one first. Why is my nose itching like it's on fire? Anyway, okay. I started with this color. You cast on in the round and you do the chart. It's virtually impossible to see the pattern. And I have also made mistakes. So if you see mistakes, you know. So this was one skein that I had. And these were not full skeins, by the way. These were partial skeins. So then I moved into this one. And that was a pretty stripy one. Like this one just seemed like there were just basically 2 colors. This one actually, and again, there are mistakes. So there's been a lot of mistakes in my knitting lately, and I'm okay with it. I'm just going with it. I'm going with it. Same way like natural aging. I'm going with natural aging. I'm stopping all, Botox and fillers and all surgery. None of that. It's not going to happen. All natural. Okay. Then this is the next skein here. Sort of a taupey. Not, maybe a little blue, not much. Then we moved into the last color, which is mainly pink. And a little natural color in there with it. So that's where I am with this. I have, how much do I have left of that skein? I wonder, where is it? Okay, it's all the way on the bottom of all my stuff. This is what I have left. I'm going to keep going. And then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to twist it. You're supposed to twist it. And then I think she said it was, I'm pretty sure she said it was mattress stitch in the pattern. Yeah. The problem is it folds, when you twist it, it folds on the prettiest part. So you kind of lose that. I mean, I think that was the prettiest skein of it, was this one. And that's in the middle, so that's where it's being twisted. So when you wear it, well, it might be okay. I don't know. It might be all right. Not sure. Could be. But what I know I want to do is I want to do a cream and a black, just a cream and a black, and a black and a gray for gifts. This was quick, couple days max. It's on big needles. It's like size 8 needles. After a while, you kind of get the rhythm of, like, when I was doing this one first, I couldn't see the pattern at all. So it was really difficult to do it because I could not see it. Like, I literally couldn't see it at all. I still really can't. Compared to the way it looks when there's high contrast. I mean, there's no comparison. High contrast, you can see it's like negative of itself. Like, right? Like, yeah, you can see. Okay, so I have those. These are gifts. Gifts coming along. I'm also doing a Sophie Shawl, which is the big version of the Sophie scarf. I am doing a couple of those Sophie scarves. But I am doing the shawl version. So you start you know, at one end, and you just increase every certain number of rounds, but one side stays completely the same. You're always increasing on the same side. So it's going to continue to increase until you... So I have 2 skeins to do this. So I'm going to finish this one skein. And then when I finish this, I'm almost done. I'm on the same side that I was increasing. I'm going to start decreasing the certain number of rows. And I have a... Where is it? Oh. Here's my second skein. It's really pretty. It's like gray, but it has speckles in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. So it's easy. If you have 2 skeins, you just, this is worsted weight. So you just, if you have one skein, you just knit and increase until you've run out of one. And as soon as you've run out of one, you go into the next one and you decrease. So you don't ever run out of yarn. You just make it as big as the amount of yarn that you have. That's very handy. All right, I'm also doing socks for Marcella. You remember I bought a skein of white birch yarn from Rhinebeck, and I made the first sock, and it's just a rib sock, 68 stitches, fish lips, kiss heel. It's a 2x2 ribbing, and I didn't do like a ribbing. I mean, I did a ribbing, but I cast on and just started the ribbing. And did 4 sort of color repeats. My fish lips, kiss, heel. 4 more for the leg, the foot, and then the toe. It's just a normal classic one. I actually have the second one, so the second sock syndrome has been defeated. I'm using Magic Loop US Zeros because I am the loosest knitter in history. So see, I did it. I got the second one. Okay. And then I also did a pair of socks. I have these, well, they're not new anymore, and they really look like crapola, but I'm having a hot flash right now. Woo! Oh my goodness. Okay. Woo! Okay. I got these new Birkenstocks through the sage green color, the Bostons, and I wanted a pair of socks that exactly matched them. So I didn't do the perfect job, but this I did 68 stitches on US Zeros. I cast on 64 stitches. I did the 2x2 ribbing for about 2 inches, and then I went into 6x2. So I did a ribbing of 6x2. And everything else is the same. Fish lips. It's the only kind of heel I do. And so I did these to have some socks to go with my new Birks. So, oh, I'm wearing my new socks actually that I knit. You saw, I don't know if you remember. Let me see. They're dirty on the bottom. Oh well. And somebody's calling, of course. Oh, Carol's calling. Hi, Carol. Sorry I can't talk to you right now. I'm podcasting. Carol, I'm podcasting. Okay. What else? Oh, I did another sock. Okay. This is the blueberry waffle sock. I think the blueberry waffle sock is 4 DK weight, but I'm just using a sport weight, I think. I have no idea where this yarn came from. I just saw it in my stash and I grabbed it. It might be Madeline Tosh. I have absolutely no idea. I could not tell you. Here's the yarn. Oh, I forgot to show you those socks that I was using to match my Birkenstocks is my London Fog colorway. And I just grabbed this baby. I've wanted to make a sweater out of this baby for a really long time and I never did, and I grabbed it and made a sock. I'm gonna make a sweater out of this, there's no doubt about it. Okay, so here is the other sock that in the blueberry waffle sock that I'm knitting. There's the yarn. It's like a plum. Yeah. Here's the sock. Everything's the same, but it's a blueberry waffle pattern, which is free on Ravelry, so I don't really need to give you the deets, but yeah, that's what it looks like. That is true. I love how my face is in the back going, because I'm blind, okay? I'm blind. Okay, and then I'm knitting the Tiny Tassels by Loop London. I grabbed a skein of yarn off of the wall. I did not even cake it up. I just put it around the arm of my chair, which I have been doing a lot more lately. Like, I have not even bothered to wind things up. And I'm in the middle of a row, which you're not supposed to do in podcast land. Here it is. Tiny Tassels takes 1 skein of fingering weight yarn and you use the entire skein. It's a classic triangle shawl, but you do it on really small needles like US 1s or 2s. I think I'm using 2s. Or maybe 3s. I'm not sure. But this is a sort of a heavily speckled. And then I'm going to put, the tassels are going to be sort of a contrast of tassels. They're going to be tiny, of course, but they might be really multicolored or something. I haven't decided what color tassels I want, but I think you play with the colors, like kind of make it look more fun by adding some interesting little tiny tassels onto it. So this is surprisingly, I mean, this is taking more time than I thought because the needles are so small. So it's not really doing what I want it to do. Anyway, oh, here's I do have a Sophie scarf. I'm making a bunch of Sophie scarves. The Sophie scarves are the little tiny ones that are just perfect for just a little something around your neck. You know, just a little something. And there's lots of people that make these different patterns. I mean, this is the Sophie scarf, but you could certainly there's tons of people doing different versions of this. So, you know, some have eyelets, some have ribs. I mean, there's just all kinds. This is just the one that started it all off. And, you know, once you have this pattern, you can add all kinds of designs yourself if you want to. Like, I could add a row of eyelets and stuff in there. Okay, before I launch into books, I do want to show you the yarn that we dyed for the Earth Stripe shawl, because I wanted to make another one. And I thought, well, do I want to take 10 colors and some you knit together and to make it look more variegated or whatever? And we just decided, let's just do 10 mohair minis, silk and mohair minis. Do 10 of them, and we made the set just really affordable because it's kind of our thanks to you all for really an incredible run. I mean, I'm going to keep going, but I mean, whether I do or not, doesn't matter. Skeincocaine was a very profitable yarn business, and you guys, a lot of you were just absolutely loyal, incredible customers. And now that I don't have my Instagram account, I mean, you know, it's less easy for me to kind of, like, I would just put stuff up in my stories with a link to go get it, and things would sell out instantly. And I don't have that kind of vehicle to do that anymore with that many people. I had 48,000 followers on there, and they're all gone. And I don't know. I don't really have, I don't know. I just want to thank you guys for 6 years of incredible support. And anyway, so this is sort of partly me giving back a little bit. But I thought that this would make the most gorgeous earth stripe shawl, just doing like 10, you know, 10 colors and then repeating those 10, or starting on one end and then going back the opposite direction or something like that. But we made mohair minis. So each one, I believe, is, oh, I didn't check to see exactly what the details are, but we're calling it the Earth Stripe Shawl Kit, but you certainly can do it with other patterns, of course. I just want to show you some of these colors because they actually make me weep. Look at this. Like, so this is mohair and silk. And so the silk has this core to it that's shiny, and it's absolutely stunning. Look at this one. Well, they're all really absolutely breathtaking. So they're on the website right now. The link is below in the show notes. I will link all the patterns that I talked about today and these mohair silk. Let me take them all out of the bag so you can see them. They're so much easier when you see them, you know, out of plastic, for sure. Look at my face. Ugh. And they're just, oh, I'm just dying. They're so pretty. Anyway, we made plenty of these. We have them on the website now. Okay. That's all the knitting I have for you. Now I have books. You ready for books? Okay. I finished Conversations with Friends from Sally Rooney, and it was so good. I loved it. So I immediately started another one of hers. And this starts out, you know, again, excellent character development. Really, really good. And again, it's about probably millennials trying to navigate in the real world, but I mean, just the interesting characters and the way that she does, I don't know, I just love it. I love her stuff. It's so easy to read, and it just touches you. And I'm, you know, getting to be an old woman, and I enjoyed reading about things that I dealt with back then. You know, I don't know. If you haven't read a Sally Rooney book, read one. Now, you might, you know, not like all of hers, but Conversation with Friends, I know for a fact is good. This one, I'm only 25 pages in. The jury's still out on this. Here's another one I've started. Demon Copperfield. She lives down the street. Yeah. Barbara Kingsolver lives in Abington, Virginia, which is about 2 hours from me. That book she did, Animal Vegetable Miracle, which is my top 10 favorite book, in my top 10 favorite books of all time, along with The Shell Seekers, Rosamund Pilcher. I do have like top 10 my favorite books. Maybe next time I'll do a list of my top 10 favorite books. But she started writing this book in a little Airbnb that Charles Dickens had written David Copperfield in. And I think she sat at the desk where he wrote it, or he wrote part of it or something like that. And she felt like he had inspired her beyond the grave, to write this book. And you forget how amazing people, you read books like Fourth Wing and stuff like that, or A Court of Thorn and Roses, and then you read books like this, and you're like, okay, these people know how to write. That other stuff is fun, it's fluffy, it's light, but then you read books like this, and they're just so brilliantly written that you can't help but just drink in every word. So this is about a boy who basically his mother is, addicted to narcotics, and she's an alcoholic, and he's navigating living in a trailer with an evil stepfather, and just, again, how far am I? I'm 55 pages in, so I can't really tell you much more than that, but I know it's going to be good. And Barbara is a knitter, right? She's a knitter. Anyway, Poisonwood Bible was also really excellent. Anyway, so I'm reading this. Okay, so then the next thing I'm reading is going to get sort of into the next conversation that I want to have, and that is politics. So you might want to turn it off now. This is what I'm reading. So, that's what I'm reading. Okay, so first of all, this book is fantastic. Okay, he wrote it with Tony Schwartz, and Tony Schwartz came out and said that he wrote most of the book. I don't give a flying whatever. I don't care. Whether he wrote it or didn't write it, doesn't matter to me. I read it because I've been grappling, since the election, I have been trying to figure out how I wanted to know how he won. I was trying to figure that out. And when my father was alive, the first time that he ran, okay, and you might hear construction outside. I just realized that there's a lot of construction going on right behind my house, so you may hear a lot of noise. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's a very weird noise. I don't know. This might be bad. I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to go with it anyway. You probably all turned it off already anyway, but my father was a real estate finance guy, and he loved Trump. And he was a bleeding heart liberal. He was a registered Democrat, as am I. He was a bleeding heart liberal. He was a Bernie Sanders kind of guy. He was pro-Kennedy. You know, he had lived through where we were spraying down, you know, with fire hoses, we were spraying down black people, you know, in the streets, and terrible race riots and things. And my dad was just for equality for all, you know, he just wasn't like that. But nearing the end of his life, so nearing 80 years old, he, you know, he was really pro-Trump, and I could not understand it. It was very upsetting to me for all the reasons that you could imagine that you would not like someone like him. I mean, at this point, he hadn't been convicted of rape or all those felonies that he has. But he definitely, I mean, he should know what he's like, right? And he loved him. He was actually teaching the art of the deal in his classes, in his real estate finance classes. Now, so I since the election, you know, I woke up in the morning and I was like, okay, Trump won. I can't believe it. But at the same time, if Kamala had won, I would have felt a little uncomfortable as well, because I was angry about a few things that had happened. You know, I was mad that Biden had said during when he was running against Trump, that he wasn't going to run again. He was only going to run for one term. And so for him to turn around and run again, I thought that we didn't. And then when he picked Kamala and we didn't have a primary, that really enraged me. I'm not saying she wasn't qualified. I'm not saying any of that. However, you know, I was not thrilled about that. But so many donors, you know, they donated $1 billion or something to her campaign. So I thought, well, they must know that she's going to be a good candidate or something. But the choice was sort of taken out of our hands. But yeah, I want to see a woman president. Yeah, absolutely want to see it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on outside right now. Oh, this is not good. Anyway, I'm sorry about the noise. I'm sorry about the lighting too. I'm just always sorry. Always sorry. Anyway, okay, getting back to this. So, I have been on a journey to try to figure out why he won. And so I've been listening to pretty much every single one of his interviews, starting back when he was like in his late 20s, early 30s. And, you know, hearing how he was, pretty much his message has pretty much stayed the same. Like, he's talked about the same things. And people have been asking him to be president since he was in his 30s. That's never changed. I was like, okay, so messaging is the same. It's always been the same. And then I started reading this book, Art of the Deal, and whether he read it or not, it's very interesting, and it has great information in it. So I'm enjoying reading it. I mean, I'm learning actually the art of the deal. I'm learning about money and risk and all of that stuff. And, you know, he's a smart guy. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to understand, and there are parts of it that I do understand. I know that the country is moving more to the right, becoming more conservative. I think the woke culture really did not help things. Okay, that sound is gone. Okay, that's good. The woke, the pro-choice thing, you know, she was always saying that we all want to have as many abortions as we want. And the fact of the matter is, that's not the case. Most women do not, I mean, I would say maybe half or a little more than half want to be able to get an abortion. Oh, the sound's back again. But I do think that when you come out and make a blanket statement like that all women want to be able to have abortions and want to have as many as they want, I think that's a hill you're going to die on. And I think that is the hill that she died on. the trans issue that make it, I think that the country's becoming more conservative. I think that there's a real misunderstanding, and I do think, depending on what pill you took, whether you took the blue pill or the red pill, those were the sound bites that you were going to hear. If you took the blue pill, then everything that Kamala said is going to sound good to you, and she's going to look good to you. And the red pill people are not going to see that. They're going to see, and of course, you took the blue pill, you're going to see all of these sound bites from Trump sounding like a complete lunatic, right? Eating the dogs, eating the cats. But then if you take the red pill, you start hearing him say things like Jesus this and Jesus that, and that should be number one, and that, you know, we should be trying to get homeless people off the streets and have enough food to go around, and saying things that, you know, sound logical. And I mean, most of the time he's just trying to make people laugh, which is not great. But like when he performed fellatio on the microphone, I mean, he just doesn't have the temperament. But did she have what it took? It's just, I think we're divided, but I think that depending on how you feel about the red and the blue side, and your set of beliefs, that everything, the news and the media and the social media, all got tailor-made to continue to support your beliefs and feeding you content to demonize the other side. I do not like making fun of the left woke people that are crying their eyes out, you know, and the right is making fun of them and, you know, sort of ridiculing their sad tears or whatever. But you have to have a little bit of consideration for the fact that they really are scared. The people on the left are scared about what this administration could do for their personal liberties. I don't know. I'm one of those people that I am a registered Democrat based on the way that Democrats used to be in the past, in terms of those, you know, gay marriage and things like that. But I'm also a Christian. So I started being a registered Democrat, though I started getting fed Christian content, and then I started getting Trump content filtered through a Christian lens. So I'm actually kind of in this unique position where I'm kind of seeing both sides. And I am that kind of person anyway. I hate taking sides. Even if there is a obviously right side, I mean, obviously for rounding people up and taking them to concentration camps, I would hope that I would have been one of those Germans that would have pushed back and said no. I hope and pray that I would be that kind of person to stand up for what's right. But honestly, I'm in terms of like social media and information being fed to me, I'm kind of getting both sides. And I'm seeing both sides of the arguments. Still, it's still a weird spot to be in, for sure. You know, particularly just even being a Christian now, when I've spent, you know, most of my life being in a family that ridiculed Christians, I still have these weird feelings. I think I told you one of these previous podcasts, like, it used to be, I'd be sitting, you know, as a little girl, and Billy Graham would come on the TV, and my dad would make gagging sounds, and, oh, I'm born again, or stay away from the, you know, see the light, or have you heard the good news, you know, making fun, always making fun, because he was in academia, and that's what they do there. And so I had this sort of reaction that if my dad thinks there's something wrong with this guy, even though he's talking about love and acceptance and all of that, and saving your soul and all that, there's something wrong. And so I have got sort of this internal war going on with how I was guided through my childhood when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to politics. You know, it was all about Kennedy and Jimmy Carter, you know, Bernie Sanders. I mean, that kind of person, right? But then you learn about, you know, Nixon. And, you know, was Nixon that bad? I mean, he did some things that were not ethical, but compared to what Trump has done, are they that bad? I mean, he did a lot of good. So many things have different sides. Nothing is black and white in this world. And when you realize that, then maybe you are more likely to accept what's going on. And also, if you are having a hard time dealing with the election results, I would remind you that I think it's important to focus on your family and your friends and your neighbors and to make all of that good. Help your friends, help your kids, help your neighbors, and that will offset your anxiousness with the election results and the changing administration. I do believe this. So that's all I got for you. So go get those. Go get these before they're gone. And I will try to come back. I will try to come back before Christmas. I hope that you are enjoying the holiday season, and I hope that you are knitting away, just knitting, or sewing, or cross stitching, or needle pointing. Anybody making any needlepoint belts for their family members? I want to make one of those sometime. If I didn't knit, I'd be needlepointing. I have done a lot of K-facet needlepoints, like the cabbage and the radishes and the cow. I've done a lot of K-facet needlepoint. That was my true love for many years, but then once I got into the knitting world, there was no looking back. So I don't have any time. Do I want to read physical books? Oh, one more book I'm reading. I'm listening. I'm also listening to a book when I'm walking. I'm listening to the C.S. Lewis sci-fi trilogy. Boy, that's good. Anything C.S. Lewis, but this trilogy, like Silent Planet might be the first one. I'm listening to Paralandra right now. Paralandra, I don't know how to say it. That's the second book, and then there's one more book. And the second book really parallels Adam and Eve, and because he's going off to these different planets, and they're in different stages of, like, on Earth, and it's called something else. I can't think of what Earth is called, but, you know, Adam and Eve obviously has already happened, and the devil was the serpent, and the Earth is fallen. But there's different planets out there, like Venus and Mars. They're called something else. Like Venus is Paralandra. And it's in varying stages in the past. So there is a woman-ish type alien woman who is like Eve, and then her husband is somewhere on the planet somewhere, and they're going to get together and they're going to start propagating Paralandra. But there's a Christ figure, and there's an unman that show up on the planet that have come from Earth to continue this process on the different planets. It's really fun and great, and I'm listening to that when I'm walking buddy. So okay, well, say hi down below. Tell me how you're doing and what you're knitting for Christmas. Are you knitting Christmas gifts for Christmas? Okay. Well, that's it. We're done. I managed to not touch my hair the entire time. Well, just about the entire time that I was here. I dyed it last night, so it's a little dark. I need to let it sort of get less dark. I wonder if this natural light, once I actually look at this video back, I wonder if it's going to look okay or not. Anyway, my nose, I just want to take like my finger with my fingernail and just get it inside my nostrils and just scrape. I am obviously allergic to something in this room. Am I allergic to wool? I don't know. Anyway, I hope you have a happy holiday, and I'll check in with you soon for another catch up. So until then, bye. Love you. Bye.